Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This one was actually sent to me on my Tumblr by an anonymous user, which means I can't give you credit for sending the story, but I guess in a sense that also means I can't directly blame you if the story sucks. This post was collected by Lucy Aria Rose, and their tagline is, "I'm keeping the garlic." The original OP is Throwaway Weird Nephew, posted in r/Am I the Asshole, March 21st, 2024. Am I the asshole for refusing to host Easter dinner if nephew is invited? Throwaway because my wife knows my account. I, 37, and my wife, 35, have been arguing about this all week. Our nephew, 22, has always been troubled. Even though sister-in-law, 44, and brother-in-law, 48, have always treated him well, some examples of his unsettling behavior. He was caught feeding one of brother-in-law's horses avocados, poisonous to horses, to make it sick. I have dogs and don't want him to hurt them as well. He demands to be called the names of two specific fictional characters. He believes he is these characters reincarnated. If you call him by his real name or refuse to go along with his delusions, he becomes aggressive. He carries around a plushie of one of these characters everywhere. There is a hole in the back. The hole is stained. I have tried not to jump to conclusions about what he does to that plushie and failed. It smells rancid, and honestly, just thinking about that thing just makes me, oh my god. we have a jar incident here. And honestly, just thinking about the thing makes me want to vomit. I'm not laughing because I find it funny, I'm laughing because I am deeply uncomfortable. I have tried so hard to be patient with his quirks, as my wife puts it, but what really pushed me over the edge was an incident that occurred a few weeks ago. For context, wife has struggled with infertility for our entire marriage, and we had given up on having our own kid until we recently discovered she is pregnant. Given the fact that she's 35, we have been surprised and overjoyed. A few weeks ago, wife started randomly getting rude texts from nephew, insulting our baby. One text implied that our baby would have fetal alcohol syndrome, due to my wife's previous drinking problem, even though she's been sober for years. I wanted to call up that insensitive brat and tear into him, but wife insisted we gently let him know via text that we didn't appreciate his comments. When he kept going and my wife started crying, I called sister-in-law. She was able to shut him down and get him to apologize. I have no idea what the hell got into him, but I suspect it has to do with his hatred of women. Wife believes that he may be on the spectrum / have undiagnosed mental illness, and that he needs to be treated patiently. I think he's been coddled his entire life, and it has only made him worse. I think if someone doesn't put their foot down, his behavior will escalate into something dangerous. Here's where I may be the asshole. Each year, wife and I host Easter dinner for our entire family. Wife has already forgiven nephew for the incident, and is insisting we invite him so that he isn't isolated from his family, something she believes will worsen his behavior. I see her reasoning, but enough is enough. I refused. I said she's being a doormat like everyone else in the family when it comes to him, and that our man-child of a nephew can't just make her cry and get away with it in an empty apology. Some of my friends are saying that I'm being controlling and that I can't stop her from seeing her own family. I feel like I'm going insane. Am I the asshole? Relevant comments. Commenter. He has a history of poisoning. He has a history of hating women. He has a history of mentally abusing your wife. He has a history of saying the baby will have birth defects. It seems like it would be fully within his capabilities to poison your wife to hurt the baby. Sounds crazy, but this guy definitely is. OP. This is exactly what I'm afraid of. I feel nobody in the family wants to admit that his problems aren't just him having quirks. They're signs of potentially dangerous behavior later on, and they need to be dealt with. I am glad I'm not alone thinking this. I was starting to wonder if I was overreacting. Like, the plushie thing and him thinking he's certain fictional characters is one thing, but the animal cruelty and anger towards women is what really have me concerned. Commenter. Yes, the animal cruelty is a clear sign of him being an actual psychopath. The issue is how you make your wife see this without pushing it. Most people don't want to believe their family is capable of such cruelty. You'll have to be very, very gentle if you intend to discuss it at all. Worst comes to worse, very carefully watch the food and drink. Personally, I can't believe anyone in the family puts up with that utterly disgusting plushie. I mean, how can they expect you to bring your future child around that? OP responds, His parents got it for him when he was a kid. They thought it was cute when he brought it everywhere. I think on some level they still see him as a child, so they kind of refuse to acknowledge what he does to that thing. Commenter, not the asshole, but honestly, the whole family are for allowing this to continue. How long has he behaved like this for? I can't believe no one has taken him to a doctor. I mean, just the fact that this adult man is carrying around a sticky, stained plushie of a fictional character is bad enough, but the trying to hurt a horse thing? And no one thinks that's worth looking into? OP responds, his mom does try to push him to go to therapy and to get a job, and he usually will get a therapist. For a few weeks. And then she's back to begging him to get therapy. She didn't want to push him when he was younger, but now that he's an adult, she cannot make him do anything. At least he's learned, after getting fired for this previously, not to take his plushie to the jobs he manages to hold down for a month or two. Do you know if he's harmed other animals / wife's safety? I do not know if he's harmed other animals. He was actually vegan for a few months at one point and was very anti-animal cruelty. I don't know why he flipped and tried to hurt one of the horses, and honestly, the fact that he can go against his own supposed values like that also scares me. I think I need to emphasize to my wife that this is a matter of safety rather than me just being mad at our nephew for his comments, although that is also a part of it. My wife has always wanted kids so badly, and before she got pregnant, I think she projected a bit of that onto our nephew as we watched him a decent amount when he was younger. I get that he's family and she loves him, and it's hard to admit that someone you love could be a danger to you, but she also has our baby to think about. I think I'll show her these comments in the morning after I make her tea and apologize for calling her a doormat / getting upset while arguing. I need to approach this a bit more gently, as you guys are confirming for me that it really is more serious than him just being rude. Mini update in the comments 13 hours later. My wife and I had a long talk this morning in which I made it clear that I was more concerned about her and our baby's safety than anything. I also apologized for resorting to name-calling last night. Wife isn't a doormat, she just has a lot of love and patience for her family. It was a hard talk with some tears from both of us, but she agreed that this has escalated to a point that may become dangerous, in part due to enabling from all of us. Honestly, I'm also guilty of coddling him, especially when he was a kid. It's hard to admit when someone you took care of as a kid has grown into someone unsafe to be around, but I think the idea in this comment might work as a way to set boundaries without shutting him out permanently. We're going to call his mother and explain that Easter dinner isn't happening this year if nephew is coming, and that he's welcome to come over when he has a diagnosis and has stuck with a therapist for at least a couple of months. Thank you all for your advice. Okay, this is post-recording Eyes here. What's coming up next is going to sound even more crazy than what's already been said. But unfortunately, it's all real. All of it. All of it. And I'm adding this here because in this next update, there's a part where I first thought, no fucking way. This has to be fake. Nope. Update post, April 3rd, 2024. Almost 2 weeks later. This bizarre series of events started on Easter and has only gotten weirder since. For those of you who did not read / don't remember my original post, my nephew was banned from our recent Easter dinner due to a concerning pattern of behavior, including recent disturbing text messages to my pregnant wife about her unborn child. Since then, his parents eventually agreed to not bring him after a lot of arguing. Sister-in-law, nephew's mother, eventually admitted that he may need professional help and that wife and I may have some reason to be worried for our safety around him. And on Easter, our worries were proven more than reasonable. He showed up uninvited, using brother-in-law's car. His parents came in sister-in-law's car. Our dinner was interrupted by aggressive pounding on the door. I don't know how to put this without it sounding insane, so here it goes. Nephew was at our door, holding a sword, and dressed as the Joker. He tried to say something, but I slammed the door in his face and told everyone inside what was going on. Chaos predictably ensued. Brother-in-law, a generally calm guy who I have never seen freak out or get angry, turned beet red and went outside. He ended up literally chasing nephew around our house, screaming at him in an attempt to get him to leave. Neighbors came outside and sister-in-law went into damage control mode, talking down one concerned neighbor from calling the police somehow. He dropped his sword in the chase and brother-in-law tackled him on our front lawn. They got him into sister-in-law's car, and somehow They left with him. Easter dinner was ruined. Wife was in tears. I was so mad, I was shaking. Good news is that this was a wake-up call for sister-in-law and brother-in-law, under threat of them withdrawing financial support. Nephew has agreed to seek therapy and surrender access to his Tumblr blog, which he previously would spend hours a day posting on. His mother went through it and found a lot of alarming posts, including content about his hatred for women, screenshots posted of his text exchange with my wife with captions bragging about his hurtful behavior, and several disturbing fan fictions with violent sexual content. They believe him being too online is worsening his behavior and are hoping that limiting his access and forcing him into therapy will help. Thank you for all who convinced me to stand my ground in the comments of my original post. Relevant comments. I might suggest the 5150 hold to his parents, but his mother is already worried that taking away the phone was too much, as if he didn't show up at my house with a weapon. In regards to the characters, commenter, not the asshole. Look, for all I care, you can be a rabbit identifying as a frog or believe you are Superman if you aren't hurting anyone and can function in society. Have at it. But this guy is scary and dangerous. He hurts animals, hates women, and has a false sense of reality. The family has enabled this behavior for years. Nope, I wouldn't want him anywhere near your pregnant wife and later your child. He's going to hurt someone. OP responds, funnily enough, you almost guess which two characters he identifies as. A frog, Kermit to be exact, yes, as in the Muppet, and the Joker, not Superman, but from the same source material. No fucking way. Editor's note, the amazing u/Molotov and user Lazy Requirement 2371 found the Tumblr account. User Pie No Filling scrolled through it. It dates back to May 2023. I didn't want to ruin the reveal, but I know who this account is. Not like personally, but I've seen them posting on Tumblr before. They're infamous. And the photos of the plush, or what's actually just a puppet of Kermit the Frog, are, unfortunately, very, very real. It is very disturbing, so read at your own risk. Content warning for threatening violence. Here's Pie No Filling's findings. I just scrolled a lot because I'm on my phone and not reading all that, as there's multiple posts a day, but I did just see a posted screen capture of talking to his mother about the messages to his aunt. The screen capture post was made on the 7th of March and OP posted a Reddit on the 21st of March. If it's a bit, then it's an insanely committed one. Edit, and we have horse poisoning on 25th of February. Quote, if he dies, maybe I'll finally be the favorite son instead of playing second fiddle to a fucking animal. And post-vet treatment? As this horse getting poisoned has happened before. I find it funny that he'll hire a private detective for a horse but not attend his own child's badminton games. Priorities. Edit 2. Right, I have now done my Reddit public service for the day. The earliest post I could scroll to on the blog was the 23rd of May, 2023. There are unredacted names and various conversation screenshots. The Muppet Joker refers to having been kicked in the head by a horse and a number of anti-horse tag posts. Editor's note 2. I can't verify this, but some more info from u/Signata. Oh, gods, this asshole. He's caused some drama in the has-been in a few other communities. That's why he's infamous. I know he's been banned from several more. I've had to ban him from multiple gaming communities. I think he's a Redditor as well, so be careful he doesn't start harassing anyone here. Update post 2, April 11th, 2024, 8 days later, 3 weeks from the original post. Title, Final Update, hopefully. First and second post to my profile for those of you who are out of the loop. Thank you for your kind messages and advice in the comments. The situation is being taken seriously by brother-in-law, wife, and myself. Sister-in-law has had her head buried in the sand a bit, but we're working on it. At the very least, he has not lifted the phone ban, and she has been looking through his Tumblr as well as his other social media to see if he really had violent intentions on Easter. Sister-in-law still believes nephew that he only came to talk. In any case, he had his first therapy session with the new therapist this week. He has promised to stick with it, mostly because sister-in-law said she would return his phone if he stuck with it long enough. Not sure how long enough is. The plus side of him being a man-child is that he's either unwilling to just buy himself a new phone with the little money he has, or he doesn't realize that he's an adult who can gain financial independence, so his mother can't threaten to take things away from him like he's a child in timeout. He has told his mom to tell us he's very sorry for his behavior and that it won't happen again. I'm skeptical. Wife is still holding out hope, but refuses to see him unless he shows substantial improvement. Brother-in-law is looking into resources for places he can get nephew committed, should that become necessary, but he believes that the situation is under control as long as sister-in-law doesn't budge. They have also confiscated his sword, and I don't think he has access to other weapons. I was also sent a link to nephew's Tumblr blog. Sister-in-law has already seen it on his phone, but did not want to share its contents because she feels like we have villainized her baby enough. I went through his blog with my wife and didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or pour bleach into my eyeballs. His blog basically confirmed what you all have been trying to tell me about his pattern of violence and hatred for women. He posts a lot about how females are all entitled and how he hates ever having to interact with them. Additionally, he seems to be stalking one of his exes, which is a whole other layer of concerning. He also writes sexually explicit fanfiction about Muppets, which is not a safety concern, but oh, fuck. But has permanently ruined the entire show for me. Sorry this update isn't very exciting, but a lot of people express concern for my family and I's safety, so I'm letting you all know this situation is being handled and everyone is okay. For those wondering about the plushie of Kermit, it has gone missing according to sister-in-law and brother-in-law. I hope it stays missing forever. It did not. Mini update. Same post, April 15th, 2024, 4 days later. Edit, people are messaging me saying that he's back to updating his Tumblr account. So that likely means sister-in-law has gone back on her word. I'm going to call brother-in-law and update him. Also, he's still hiding the plushie somewhere because brother-in-law was trying to throw it away and he can't find it anywhere. Editor's note. One of the newer Tumblr posts where the nephew responds to someone who asked about him getting his phone back. Yes, a while ago, my mother said I may keep it as long as I do not have another outburst and I continue with therapy. My uncle and aunt have stopped talking to my mother and I over this issue, which I think is stupid. My father and mother have been fighting non-stop. It is stressful and obnoxious. At least at night I can bring out my Kermit plush to relieve stress. Editor's note 2, he also got fired from his job at Starbucks. I was working there until today when I tried to take a small piece of my love/coworker's hair, and he got very upset and told our manager and I was fired. They were very rude about it. User NeoDesu in the comments posts further context. More history of psychopathic, unhinged behavior of this Joker Muppet dude that I haven't seen anyone mentioned yet. Hit his ex-therapist with a car. Didn't call the police on him because he was driving at 4 miles an hour and apparently didn't harm him. Because he denied the reality of his kin types. Stood outside his ex's campus with a sword and wouldn't leave until they faced him in a duel. Nibbled and snacked on his roommate's soap right after he showered because it was the right amount of softness to eat soap. Roommate caught him in the act, moved out, and blocked him. Went on Joker mode and damaged $400 worth of badminton equipment. He had to work at Starbucks to pay that off, LOL. Wanted to be friends with a purple-haired coworker, Joker-related shit, at Starbucks, but he was not comfortable around him. Wonder why. Texted his aunt insulting her baby to own the haters on Tumblr. And now we know that he later cut the hair of that purple-haired individual and apparently later went on to build a shrine of him. Oh boy. When I started this post and it was recommended to me on Tumblr, which now I understand why it was recommended to me on Tumblr, I did not realize I was walking into a best of post that actually happened to be about one of the most infamous Tumblr users on the platform. Good lord. I'm also probably 99% sure I've covered some of their posts on the main channel. So, Anyways, sorry for ruining any food you were potentially going to be eating for this post. Probably should have added that disclaimer at the beginning. Oops. This post was collected by Direct Caterpillar 77, and their tagline is, "Satan is not a pogo stick." The original OP is SK2990, posted to r/relationship advice September 29th, 2016. I'm 28 female and concerned with my 29 male boyfriend's white knight syndrome for his best friend. Sideways slant mouth emoticon. Hey there Reddit, been a long time lurker here and finally bit the bullet to write this to ask for advice. I've read plenty of great and bad things here, but I'm sort of lost for what I should do in regards to my own relationship. So, I suppose I should get into history first. My boyfriend and I started dating about 13 months ago. We met through mutual friends playing an online game 2 years ago. We were long distance for a while until my job offered me a great promotion in a big city close by where he lived, and I took up the offer. Decided to meet up as friends, and we let the relationship blossom under that pretense of getting to know each other before deciding if it was what we wanted. As far as the relationship is concerned, it's going really well and has been since the start. At least it seems to be doing well in the healthy state of mind. Boyfriend and I share a lot of hobbies together, but we also do things apart. He likes sailing boats, whereas I get seasick just walking on the marina. We share a lot of the same family values, want the same things out of life, very passionate about hobbies and careers. We're both at a point in our lives where if things were to fall into place, we could spend the rest of our lives together and then some. But we're not moving that fast just yet, as we're still young in the relationship. We still live in separate apartments. Our jobs are in different cities, too far to commute from either's place. So we see each other every weekend. More if we have bank holidays. Most people just see us as a normal happy couple with their up and downs, but generally we're great together 99% of the time. Until my boyfriend brings up his best friend in any conversation, who I'll name Kat henceforth, which always makes for a tense conversation. Now, I'm pretty sure you're thinking that I must be that girl. The jealous type of girlfriend most guys don't want. The jealous type of girl that doesn't want her boyfriend talking to other girls besides herself. But that simply isn't the case here, and I'll explain. Kat and my boyfriend were friends a year prior to meeting me, and I suppose you could say they share a special type of friendship. The friendship most people in a relationship dread. The friends are more with the blatant flirting and dirty jokes. Never moving forward past it, but always wondering if they did, could they be more? Type. Boyfriend had let me know that Kat always had or rather still is, thing for him, and at one point he did too. But that was before Kat admitted that she was married and with kids. Boyfriend had shut that idea down immediately, but still continued to have the flirt fest with her regardless. His reasoning was because he was single, and what harm could it do? LOL. Anyway, when boyfriend and I met, we had an instant connection, and the rest is kind of history for that. My concern here is that anytime Kat has a problem, boyfriend goes running for the hills trying to be her white knight. Her marriage is on the rocks, has been for the longest I can remember. She and her husband married young, shotgun wedding, and they've never really been committed to each other. If she has money problems, he, I assume the boyfriend, writes a check for her. If she has problems sleeping, he lets her record his voice over Skype or mumble so she can fall asleep. If her husband doesn't want to have sex, he's there to listen. If she's in a shitty mood, she makes him say sex jokes and makes him flirt with her to feel better. If she witnessed the second coming of Jesus and didn't know how to process it, she'd make him explain what happened. She likes to shamelessly flirt with him, always. In general, she looks for solace in my boyfriend when she has a problem, and he always helps her out, no matter what it takes. Now, normally I wouldn't care and would let him do that for any person he cared about, but she always let it slip that if she were single, she would snatch him up in a heartbeat, even if he's with me or anyone else. She cracks lewd jokes at him while around the both of us. Kat has never let the opportunity slip by to make it known to me that she's very much in love with my boyfriend. She makes me uncomfortable, and I've told my boyfriend that many times. He assures me that he did entertain the idea of once being with her, but once he met me, that all changed. I trust his word 100% and without a doubt he wouldn't cheat on me, or at least I want to believe he wouldn't do that to our relationship. We've talked about what to do, and he told me he would stop talking to her entirely if that made things better. But I don't want to be that girl, you know? The girl who makes her boyfriend break off friendships? I told him about how much Kat gives me anxiety about the relationship, that she would try anything to get rid of me and to get to you if her life allowed it to. Boyfriend assures me every time that he's with the person he loves, being me. I suppose her constant bantering has gotten the best of me to the point where I trust my boyfriend, but when he's around her, I don't. Everything about Kat, I can't trust. Everything I hear or see about or from her, I can't trust. Am I just being the insecure girlfriend who can't get over that? Am I just afraid that one day she'll do something drastic to take the person I love away? Is this jealousy? I don't know what to do, think, or say about the situation. I've had so much anxiety over this that writing all this out has taken a toll on me. What can I do to ease the anxiety of my boyfriend's white knight syndrome for Kat? Is what he's doing right? Could she really be the best friend, or am I thinking too much into this? Please help. Too long didn't read, boyfriend white knights for his friend who always seems to be the damsel in distress. His friend is in love with him and lets it known to me, the girlfriend, that she is. Need advice on how to handle the situation. Relevant comments, dull sharp. Tell your boyfriend that you feel Kat is being disrespectful of you and your relationship and explain the instances you described here or specific times you felt she was undermining you and your relationship with your boyfriend. Tell him you don't want him to cut the friendship, but ask him to put some boundaries in place. If she wants to talk about her husband and their troubles, fine. If she wants to reimagine her life with him in it, he needs to nip that in the bud, especially as he previously decided, independent of you, that that wasn't an option. Flirting can be harmless, but if you don't think it's harmless, talk to him about it and how things she says makes you feel. If he won't do it, then that's a hard road to continue on. Best of luck. Opie responds, I never really understood the full picture until you pointed it out. I'll definitely bring these points on our next conversation. Thanks for replying to my thread and for the helpful advice. Smiley face. User drive-by Justin comments. On point, does the boyfriend ever say, that is really inappropriate to this chick? OP, this is not a lifelong bestie that you need to just deal with. This is a romantic interest from a year prior to meeting you. I don't think you're the one making him get rid of friends. I think she is. OP responds, he has at times, but he lets it slide so much that I don't think he bothers to anymore. Definitely a bad sign, but I don't know whether it was playful banter or just her being the sly dog, you know? I suppose you're right about the latter fact. Drive-by Justin responds, does she say this shit around you? OP responds, almost always. The boyfriend and I don't meet up with her often, but when it's a get-together with other friends and she's there, she just has to sling that hash at me. It's also a lot easier for her to do online when we're playing games too. So yeah, she does. Edit, 1:22 a.m. Thanks everyone for the lovely replies. I may not be able to reply to everyone, currently on a break from work right now, but keep them coming. It's really nice to see what an outsider thinks and feels with the situation. Some things I never even considered or thought of. I've come to decide that I'm definitely going to have the talk with the boyfriend in person when he's over here at my place this weekend. I'm unsure if I'll do an update post, but you all have been giving me some really great advice on how to proceed and process the situation. Thank you all again. Update to boyfriend white knight syndrome, October 9th, 2016, 10 days later. Hey everyone, I'm writing out mobile on the moment, but here's a link to my previous thread. As requested by some, here's the update. The weekend came and I sat the boyfriend down and we had a very long talk about everything. I laid down all of my cards on the table, the concerns I have, the friendship, what she means to him, that he was blind to her advances and how crude and mean she is in regards to me, how she disrespects the relationship and tries to undermine me, etc. He was very adamant to say that he was only just being a friend to her, that he didn't see what he was doing was anything more than going beyond that. The boyfriend also mentioned that he might have felt compelled to help her since he always feels like he has to do everything he can for anyone in his life. He did say the flirting thing was mostly harmless, but he now realizes how careless and stupid it was to think that it didn't hurt anyone. He pretty much fessed up to saying that everything he did or was doing was essentially emotional cheating. He's steadfast on the fact that he's never actually done anything with Kat, beyond that, just being a friend to her, that any romantic or otherwise feelings related to that were dead and gone the moment Kat revealed herself to be married. He asked me what I wanted done. I told him that I wanted her out of our lives, that I couldn't trust him around her and vice versa. I couldn't be happy as long as she was able to hover over my boyfriend and our relationship so freely. She was a threat to the relationship and there wasn't room for another. I know people told me to be brave and I shouldn't care about being a stereotype, etc., and that I should stand my ground because of all of my concerns thereof. He was very responsive to it and said that he would cut her out of his life and therefore out of ours. He said it would be hard because he feels like he's abandoning a friend. I told him that she wasn't just a friend to him, and I had to remind him that Kat was more than that and would always be so long as he let her be. He promised that he would no longer do any of that and would cease any and all contact with Kat after we were done with the conversation. We ended up talking about a lot of other relationship issues we had. Apparently, a lot of trust issues are deep-seated with him. Parents divorcing while young, never had real friends, past relationships never working out, etc. While I have them too, there was lots to be said. We're still together and dating, and hopefully stronger after this is dealt with in its entirety. As for the boyfriend doing with what he said he would do, only time will tell. As for me, I'm happier and relieved to have been able to talk to the boyfriend about the situation. Thanks to everyone who took the time out of their day to read my other thread and give some great advice to me. Hopefully, I won't have to return here with another update in the future regarding this particular matter. But I'll definitely come back again if I do more boggling mind matters for relationship issues. Signed, SK2990. Smiley face. Alright, in my opinion, this wasn't just a cat problem, this was very much a boyfriend problem. The moment that it was mentioned that Skype calls were coming into play and he was recording his voice for her to sleep to, that's definitely a bit more than just being friendly with each other. And he did recognize that fell into the emotional cheating category, but this most certainly wasn't an accidental emotional cheating where they were both kind of flirting a bit too much with each other and crossed some boundaries. This was very much complicit on both sides. I wouldn't be shocked if it turns out the boyfriend just enjoyed the attention he was getting from Kat as well as having his girlfriend. I do hope he did get his act together though, and was more there for OP than he was for Kat. I mean, we won't really know because this post is at this point in time almost a decade old. I do hope that with the emotional cheating being brought up that a lot of his white knightish behaviors were being brought up here because some of these behaviors were definitely crossing a line, and I fully believe that he knew what he was doing, because if someone asked me, hey, could you record your voice for me to fall asleep to? And I'm not talking about listening to someone to fall asleep to, like watching a YouTube video, like how some of you are probably doing right now. I'm talking about being directly asked, could you create a unique recording for me to listen to while falling asleep? Or be on a Discord or Skype call with me. Skype doesn't exist anymore, sadly. There is definitely a lot more to the implications there, and I could never, ever imagine asking just an actual casual friend to do that for me, because there's some implications attached to that there that are inescapable. And I just struggle to believe the boyfriend was totally ignorant to that.
Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code OZ at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code OZ directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code OZ at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.